wajib prayer, do ta'qeed. Recite tasbih Fatul Zahra sallallahu alayhi wa and have raghba, have a desire to go to your Lord. So do some dua. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your salat has ended. But now you should have a desire that I've finished my wajib prayer. How can I connect to Allah? What dhikr can I do? What prayer can I ask for Allah on an individual basis? That is part of making a plan for ourselves, for continuing that spirit of worship after salat has come to an end. And also, in other ahadith it has been mentioned that part of this address was to the Prophet himself, that when you have finished conveying Islam, then appoint your successor to continue that journey. Because if I am not to let a single 2 rak'at prayer go to waste by coming to an end, how can the Prophet let the entire Islamic religion and community, this whole enterprise, come to an end and say, I haven't made any plans for the ta'qibat, what is to come after, how that worship is to be conducted right, not simply to go without any kind of guidance, a ship without a rudder. So this is also part of the meaning of the surah. There's no contradiction, because it's a principle of life, that when you finish the fasting of the month of Ramadan, culminate, seal with the prayers of Eid, and those should be your most sincere and heartfelt prayers. When you finish the worship of Hajj, and those of us who are afar, we will watch it on the internet and see people in Hajj, but culminate and end it with the worship and the prayers of Eid. Every prayer you do, the prayer comes to an end, think about how you are going to continue the spirit of sincerity after the prayer. This is part of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be a community. By making those plans individually and on the days of Eid, especially all together. Some of you may have heard of this movement that is called the 99%. As a reaction here in Chicago, there was a movement of the 1%, that we are the 1%. And then there are different groups that have tried to latch onto that bandwagon, the 57% who actually, is it 57 or 43 who actually pay taxes, income taxes, and different kinds of groups. What we see in all of these is there is an attempt to form a community. But that community is formed on the basis of an adversarial relationship. Whether it be 99% against 1, or 99.9% against 0.1%, or 57 against 42, whatever the percentages may be. The movement is defined in terms of an adversarial relationship. And that adversarial relationship, it sometimes naturally takes place in society. The Prophet also had adversarial relationships with those who wish to extinguish Islam. So I'm not saying it's never justified. But what I am saying is that the model that Islam gives us as an ideal for our community is not 99 against 1 or 80 against 1. It's not that kind of adversarial relationship at all. Whether you are a member of the 1% or whether you are a member of the 99%, you are a member of the same ummah. And especially the rituals of Hajj and then the day of Eid, that is a symbol of how all of the Muslim ummah, old and young, healthy and sick, rich and poor, super rich and super poor, their relationship ideally is not adversarial, but it is to be as one group. They should have a feeling for the concerns and the needs of each other. Not only demands of one another, but also something to contribute. Also a sense of obligation and debt towards the other, because it is all one unit. And that is something which our Imams emphasize. I have mentioned before the ahadith in which Imam Ja'far Sadiq would meet his close students, and especially Imam Baqir, would meet their close students who they would teach the secrets of Imamat. But then they would say, look at all of the Hujjaj around you and feel a connection to them. and their worship, even if they don't know anything of what you know. They don't know the true Islam. They don't know the true meaning of the verses of Quran. Maybe what they do it wrong. They don't recognize Ahlul Bayt at all. But they are coming for Hajj, they are praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't think that we are the chosen and they are our adversaries. The Imams themselves and many of their followers, those who we know very well, many of them were members of the 1% of their time. But they took active steps to bring themselves and to be part of their communities, to share their suffering, to share their pain, to share their trials. Never allow those links to be separated. And that is our challenge for our times as well. To develop those strong links where we can be an ummah. Because if we have a sincerity to Allah, if we have a sincerity to our Prophet, if we await the fulfillment of Allah's promise to us, if we are divided, if we don't have kind words to say for one another, if we don't know or we don't care what other members of our community are going through, good and bad, suffering and comfort, then we are not one community. And if we are not one community, then a leader will not be able to lead. The leader would have to first say, become a community. And we don't want to pray to the Imam, but not be ready for the Imam. That readiness cannot come if I am sincere, if I am pure. It can only come if we are, as Islam intended, within our communities, within our role for humanity, the 100%. The 100%, meaning our concern, wherever we are, and whoever we are, is for the well-being and the best interests of the entirety of our community. That is the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted the Muslims to maintain. And that is a message that in a divided society, in a polarized society, here in America, anywhere around the world, we as Muslims can give better than anyone else. Because that is the essence of our religion. And that is the essence of our worship and the essence of our religious practice and the teachings of our religious leadership. To heal those wounds, to take away that polarization, to create a society that's not going to go to the ideal, because we can't do that by ourselves, but that is ready as followers for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to restore that grace at a time and in a manner which He sees fit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that strength and that cohesion and that togetherness within our communities. If society is polarized, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take away the antipathy, the polarization from our communities. Bring our hearts together. May He make each and every one of us know what is going on in the hearts. What are the worries? What are the concerns? What are the happinesses and the triumphs of our relatives and our community members and our neighbors? And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us also to participate and partake of the lives of one another. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in one word, make us an ummah that is worthy of our a'immah. A community that is worthy of the leaders of that community. إن شانئك هو الأبتر.